Okay, so boom. All right. So race is always a hot topic, right? Because it's, first of all, it's in my opinion that it's never going to go away because it's ingrained in human beings, where we have evolved from tribal creatures. And so I kind of feel like I'm of the opinion that it will kind of never go away, but it's the decision that you make to be a better person or not. That's my opinion on it. But with that being said, there's a lot of people right now who like to focus on white privilege, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Do I feel like it is? Does it exist? Do I feel like it's a real thing? Should I feel like it be recognized? Yes. But I want to talk about something real quick. I want to get your take. So, okay, so boom. Is it just white privilege, or does a lot of people have their own version of privilege depending on their demographic?
I believe everybody has privilege, not just white privilege. I think it's more situational. And what you define as the privilege. Like, what are you afforded to do, to say, to where to go that I'm not, and what text are we talking about? What
Right.
context?
Right. Because a privilege, right? Again, people use words out of context, right? Mm-hmm. Like privilege actually has a meaning. But what people see, what they're really seeing is a manifestation of a tribal bias. But that bias is something that everybody has innately. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If a black person walks into a cafeteria and he sees the black table, where's he going to go? You know what I mean? That is a manifestation of a tribal bias. Now, that's not wrong. That's not wrong for him to want to hang out with his own people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's human nature. We all have a bias. In my opinion, we all have a bias.
Yes.
You can't live this world because you only live the perspective that you have been given, whether that be your race, your sex, whatever. You have a bias because you were born into a certain structure, a certain path that is unique to you. And you will create a bias along that way, depending on your experiences. And sometimes it manifests itself into different areas, right? Maybe it's work related, right? And then that's when people are like, okay, well, this is a form of white privilege, right? But are we going to sit here and act as if white people aren't the only ones who are like, yo, I really like it when my work environment is just my own? Like, for instance, right? For instance, if you go to a Chinese restaurant, I have never walked into a Chinese restaurant and there's just like a random black person in the back working too. Nah. You know, you might see a 12-year-old niece or nephew back there, but you're usually not going to see somebody from a different race working back there. No. Now, is that a form of Asian privilege or something? Or is it just a natural bias, a consequence of culture, if you will?
Some people would say, oh, well, that's the family business. That family owns that restaurant. So it's only natural that you allow your family to work there and to come up until, they could go out and do something else.
Yeah.
So it's their right. It's the family business. Right?
Do you think that they're always family, though? No. Fuck out of here. No way.
Same way where... Like we're from the city. Mm-hmm. You go into certain bodegas. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. You go into certain 7-Elevens. It's that one culture, that one race predominantly in that section.
That runs it.
They're doing that. And it's like, okay, well, is that Spanish privilege at the bodegas? Right. If depending, is it the Indian Asian culture at the 7-Elevens? Like, why do we do that? Why is it like that? And can you break in? It's not now your attempt to break into that may draw some static. Right. If I apply versus let's say I apply to a 7-Eleven. Right? And another Indian Asian person comes and they apply. Well,
what do you think is going to happen?
What do you think is going to happen?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Am I offended?
Possibly, if you want to be.
You see it. It's like, okay, I already know what's happening. I can tell by everybody else who's working here, my chances of working.
Right. It's like being Indian, right? Being Indian, do they have a privilege of gas stations and being doctors just because they're Indian? You know what I mean?
It's what you see, and that does not make it the norm. I think when we take what we see as the norm versus what the norm is, that's when the whole privilege and the offensive things get a little sticky.
Yeah, I think everybody. Listen, I think everybody has their own form of privilege. To be honest, it's just the way that people want to view it. Because here's the thing, I believe that God is the greatest card dealer ever. He gave you these cards, and he's like, all right, what are you gonna do with that? I don't know. Some people might have all the spades. Somebody might not. But are you a better spades player than the other person? Who knows? Like,
there you go.
Like, you have to look at your cards and look at what you're dealt with, and you know what I mean? And navigate life through that and make better decisions through that. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, right? Do everybody focuses on white privilege, but is there female privilege? Is there woman privilege? Y'all, I mean, like, if you're watching this right now, we don't, you know what you know, and I know what I know. There is a such thing as woman privilege. Yes. When I walk to the club and she gets in for free and I don't, is that not woman privilege?
Women free till midnight. What about me?
Right.
I want to party at the same club she partying at.
Right. You know what I mean? If no woman is gonna sit there and fight for me and protect me, but if I'm with my girl, I gotta fight whoever she disrespects.
I gotta take that on the chin.
I gotta take that on the chin and probably die. Is that not woman privilege? You know what I mean?
Or they flip it. It's not privilege at that point. It's what expected of you. Oh, it's what expected. I can say, in what context are we talking?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's when it becomes a more favorable word.
Mm-hmm. There's there's gay privilege. I believe gay people have a lot of privilege in the United States. You want to know why? Because you can't talk about them. Recently, I had my TikTok demonetized for a simple question. I said, what's more gay? Getting pegged by a transsexual, or getting pegged by a woman, or having sex with a transsexual woman? That's just like weird, like behind the scenes guy talk that usually happens out there, right?
Right.
But because it had gay people involved, now all of a sudden I'm demonetized. Now all of a sudden my funds are pending. Now all of a sudden I'm coming under attack. Is that not privilege? The fact that no one can talk about you unless it's positive. No one can talk about you. No one can make fun of you. You can't tell a joke about you. You can't say nothing negative about you, or else that person's homophobic clearly, and you're just a bigot. So, is that not gay privilege, that you get to just do whatever you want and nobody can say anything about it?
What I would call that, what that privilege is what some people would say defensive censorship, right? You could talk about them. You can big them up. You can. It's proud to be out in the open. Do you as a human being, whatever. I support the rights, whatever. But when you say so, oh, that's gay. What do you mean that's gay? That's gay. What do you mean that's gay?
By the definition, like if my homie just kills my homie and I didn't know that they were gay, right. I'd be like, oh, that's gay. I didn't know.
And it's like, now, it's offensive. That defensive censorship, you can't talk about them in that light. You can only talk about them in positive
light. Only positive light. Only good. Mm-hmm. Is that not a privilege? Don't you think I would love to have gay privilege, right? Don't you think I would love to only have nice comments and nobody could say anything bad about me? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's just thinking about the comments that might come from this conversation alone. And it's like, okay, well, let's move it off of gay privilege. Now, is gay privilege, white privilege? Now, what? Let's say black privilege.
Ooh, okay, let's go there. You went there, so let's go there.
All right, as a black guy, what are my privileges?
The N-word's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You know?
And now, here we go. Now let's take that. We're saying the N-word. Now, N-word has just been blanketed. As a black guy, from behind the scenes, behind the media, it's just been blanketed. But now, what are you saying? The hard R N-word? Of course, that's a derogatory term.
Facts.
Don't say that. Are you saying it with the soft A? No?
You know?
Then it's okay. Who can say it? When can we say it? It's in rap lyrics, right? As a non-black person, like I went to a Jay-Z concert. Jay-Z has white fans.
Lots of them.
Lots of white fans, right? We're all there. We're singing along with him, right? And I can hear the white person next to me letting off nigga, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so am I supposed to be offended that he's saying it? He's singing along with his artist.
He's saying what Jay-Z said.
Right, but but that's a black privilege. I'm black. Only I can say.
You can dictate, as a black person, you can dictate what somebody else gets to say.
So it's like, okay. So my privilege is giving the pass. Okay, right now in this situation, we're at a concert, you get a pass. Singing it in the privacy of your own car, you get a pass. Right? I had, when I was in college, I would carpool with one of my guys, Timothy. We both love DMX. DMX is very heavy on the nigga.
He said it the best. Arguably,
you're right. So he's shitting shotgun. I'm driving, and I hear him censor himself as the lyrics go on. Now, I feel a little awkward because I don't want him to censor. I want him to be him, but I don't want him to get that comfortability and say, okay, no, let me say it. So when I'm out the car, it's cool because around him, it's cool.
Right.
My privilege is letting him give that pass.
Right.
Is it really though? Is that my real?
It's a constructed privilege.
Right.
And just like most privileges, they are constructed. Right? Because there's no such thing as real white privilege anymore. The days of hard laws being written down for the benefit of the white man, quote unquote, those days are now done. When people talk about systematic this and systematic that, I always say, I will believe you. I will be on your side. I will fight for everything that you're trying to say right now. But you do need to bring up a law that tells me down in paper how it benefits a white man over a black man. Another black privilege, arguably, some people would say, is affirmative action.
Yes.
Affirmative action. When people like to talk about systematic this and systematic that, I said, okay, systematic, that's in the system. That is a law that is in place, that is hard written, that we could look it up, that prefers one over the other. Is that not a black privilege?
You could argue it's a black privilege. Say I'm applying to a company that I know they have to hire a certain amount of black people, a certain amount of Asian people of color. They have to hire a certain amount.
They got a quota.
Position. They have a quota to fill, right? And I'm applying, right? So I have a higher chance of getting in than if I was to apply as a white guy and then go against with the other competition.
Right.
You know? I said, okay, cool. That's a black privilege. I'll let you get away with that. Also, but that's a correction of the white privilege that was there before, saying, okay, I'm only letting in people of my color.
Yes.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not arguing whether this one's right or this one's wrong.
Right.
What I'm just saying is shedding light that everybody has privilege. It just depends on how you want to look about it, you know? And you know, when it comes to things like affirmative action and stuff like that, diversity comes into play a lot of the times, because sometimes white privilege comes about in areas where there's just a bigger white demographic. But what could you possibly do about that? First of all, they are the majority in the United States. So there's that, right? You go to Wyoming, for instance, right? You're going to see a whole lot of white privilege, but it's not because of anything besides the fact that there's just white people, bro.
They're there.
They're just living their freaking Wyoming ass lives. Shout out to anybody in Wyoming if you're watching this, by the way. Love you guys. But, they're just doing their fucking thing, right?
Exactly.
But, it's weird when it comes to diversity because I feel like, I want to get your take on this. I feel like people pick and choose depending on the diversity. For instance, somebody goes to a company and is like, nah, too white in here. Whole lot of white privilege going on up in here. We got to change that, right? But here's the thing. No one will ever go into the NBA and be like, too many black people in here, bro. Yo, we need we got some Asians, man. You got some Asians? Yo, what's that? What's that Indian dude over there? What is he doing? We got to mix this up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Is the NBA just like, hey, whoever is best for the job is best for the job, and it just turns out that the majority of black people are just best for the job in the NBA. You feel me? Mm-hmm. They're just more athletic. They just so happen to be taller. That is what it is, right?
Right.
So when I look at certain places and when I hear people talk about diversity, I'm like, are you really about diversity all the time? Or do you just look at certain places and you're just like uncomfortable with the fact that there's a heavy diversity on one side versus the other side? Like, no man has ever looked at the teacher demographic and the nurses demographic and been like, what really freaking, pulls my chains at night? Mm-hmm. All these women being nurses and teachers. Right. We got to get in there.
No, you're right. You're taking that point of who's actually applying to these positions. You know what I'm saying? If there's not enough, if you say, okay, there's not enough black people here, there's not enough Asian people here, well, are they applying? Is that the sector that they want to be in?
Right.
Is that the sector that they feel comfortable in?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, if they're not...
Why can't people be free to fall into place wherever that they feel they deem fit? You feel me? Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, I don't care. If every single one of my doctors are Indian, so be it. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Is he the best suited for the job?
There we
go. That's all I care about, bro. That's somebody's like, oh, there's not enough female pilots. We need more female pilots. Listen, bro, if I get on a plane and in the back of my head, I'm like, wait, did she really get this job? You feel me? Mm-hmm. Or did somebody say, yo, we just need some more diversity in here? Nah, son, because I'm not going to die over some diversity. That's not what's about to happen.
It's funny that you bring up the female pilots. On my way back from Amsterdam, when you hear the people start talking about how to put the vest on and everything.
Right.
Okay, cool. I hear the female talk about that. And then you hear from the pilot, okay, we're going to be cruising at this altitude. And when the female got on, the guy next to me said, hold on. And immediately I knew what he was talking about. Immediately. And then I look around, and then you can see other people on the plane looking around. It's
like... Even the women on the plane were like, wait, hold up. Is that our captain? Is that our captain? And it's like, without knowing, it's like, yeah, okay, there's a female plane. Okay, oh shit, are we going to land? Right.
Like, shit, are we even going to take off? Like, you can hear the little snide remarks going on. And it's like, wow. Shit, but that's the society. I mean, if women don't want to be pilots, if they are... then so be it.
So be it, man. So be it. Just leave it alone, man.
But when they do apply and they are fit for the job,
let
them in.
Yeah.
Let them in. But I agree with you. Go where you're comfortable. Do what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because isn't that the point of America? Isn't that the point of America? To come here and just let the cards fall as they may? You know what I mean? Like... That's just, nobody's sitting here being like, yo, we need more, we need more Mexicans in the Chinese industry, bro. That's what we need. Listen. No, bro, if they're the best at what they do, that's what I want.
I love ramen.
Uh-huh.
I love ramen.
I'm hearing you.
I go to a ramen restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
Where they cook it in front of you. I saw a Spanish dude making my ramen.
Uh-huh.
The first thought is,
This better be good.
This better be good. This better be the ramen that I know and love, right? Because
if not, it's a problem.
It's a problem. Would I prefer to see an Asian guy? Does it make it seem more authentic? Yes. Right? Does it fit the at this point the stereotype or whatever? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's makes me comfortable.
But
did he do it? He
killed it.
He killed it.
He killed it.
I had no complaints.
But your initial thought,
being honest.
But does that make you a racist?
No.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make you a racist.
I know. Listen, it's Asian culture. It's the Japanese culture. Wherever you want to, whoever, what type of, if you're saying Vietnamese pho or whatever style of noodle that you prefer, I would rather have them make it because at least I believe they know what they're doing.
Right.
Can you teach stuff to different people?
Sure.
Of course. Yeah. But
yeah,
just being honest, my initial thought was, you better not fuck this up.
Yeah, man. And you know what? That's just the privilege of being Asian in certain areas, right? Everybody's just gonna assume that you're just good at certain things.
Of course.
White people are gonna assume that you're good at certain things. Black people are just gonna assume that you're good at certain things. People are gonna fall into certain demographics in life, not because any white boogeyman is out there putting somebody where they're supposed to be. It's just that culturally over years, people have made personal decisions to put their energy and focus in certain things versus other things. And now we call those things culture. Now we call those things stereotypes, quote unquote. But you don't have to be a pussy and call everything racist. And you don't have to sit there. This is the reason why I think this is why white privilege is a dangerous notion. Is because it puts into somebody's mind that I'm not here because of this person. I'm not where I want to be because of this person. Whereas I feel like if I were to rate the ratio between personal decisions and white privilege in the terms of like where you want to be, right? How much white privilege is impacting where you want to be versus your personal decisions. I feel like personal decisions is at least 90%. White privilege might be like 10% in there if you try to get a job in Wyoming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People, it's like you said, that lunchroom analogy. You go where you're comfortable. I went to Kingsborough down in Brooklyn, towards Brighton Beach. A lot of Russians, right? They literally have their own section of the lunchroom.
Yeah.
A Russian girl, they come out with the food. You could tell the freshmen, they don't know where to go. Well, I hear them speaking my language over here. I'm gonna head over here.
You feel me?
Does not mean that she doesn't want to sit with us. No, but she's not. She's gonna go where they're comfortable. And it's more like animalistic because let's say you grew up speaking Arabic. English is your second language. What a lot of people do under pressure, like say if you were to put that guy under pressure, he's going to revert to speaking Arabic under pressure.
Yeah.
Why? That's more comfortable, right? He could be in a situation with 3 other guys who only speak English. But once the pressure is on, they tend to convert to their natural language.
Right.
Is he racist? Is he a bigot? Is he this? No.
No.
But it's just what happens. We feel comfortable in certain situations. We do what comes natural.
Yes. Because we all, like I said in the beginning, and this is how it will end. We all will go through life with a bias. A bias isn't always racist. Words have meanings. Words have meanings, people. Just because you have a bias, we've admitted some biases here. Just because you have a bias doesn't mean you're racist. Everyone has a bias. And if you say you don't, you're full of shit. And you're probably just a person that likes to sound like a good person by saying shit like that. You have a bias. Everybody has a bias. And that's okay. And don't allow people to get into your head saying that white privilege is keeping you down. You could do whatever you want to do. Nobody's keeping you down in 2022. Let's go.
We're doing a survey around the country on the way population handles themselves and speaks and deals with their friends and interacts with their peers.